Your baser instincts are currently deceiving you. This deception isn't merely holding you back. It's actively seizing control of your potential destiny. This inner voice, the one that murmurs doubts, instills fear, and relies on cold logic, has been subtly shaping the course of your entire existence. Your decisions, your emotional responses, and even your very sense of self. And here's the truly alarming part. If you don't recognize and confront this voice soon, you may risk losing touch with your authentic self permanently. What you're about to experience isn't merely a motivational pep talk. It's the ultimate wake-up call. It's a decoded guide to unlocking the inherent power you were born with, a power that you were systematically taught to disregard. It's the power to transcend the limitations of this reality, to rediscover your true identity and purpose. Pay close attention, because once you see through this elaborate facade, you'll realize that it wasn't just a simple lie. It was a carefully constructed trap designed to ensnare you. And what follows is your only escape route. At this moment, you are inhabiting a physical vessel, complete with a name and personal history. However, your true essence lies in the consciousness that is piloting this vessel. Science refers to this as the observer effect. Mystics call it the I am. Secret societies have termed it the divine spark. The ancient Egyptians encoded this wisdom within their sacred temples. And now, quantum physics has provided scientific validation. Reality is fluid and changes based on the observer. In essence, you are not merely a passive participant within this reality. You are actively co-creating it. The critical distinction lies in remembrance. If you forget your true identity, the system dictates your actions, but if you remember, you gain the power to override the existing programming. Your baser instincts actively resist this remembrance as they thrive on doubt, distractions, addictions, and fear. They seek to confine you to a state of mere survival, perpetually chasing external validation, fleeting comfort, and short-lived dopamine rushes. Because the moment you awaken to the realization that you are a divine being in disguise, your baser instincts lose their power and influence. So let's be unequivocally clear about this. You are not defined by your given name, your past traumas, or your outward personality. You are the silent, unseen intelligence that observes it all. You are the constant presence that watches your thoughts unfold like a movie, the essence that has remained unchanged since childhood, since birth. The one that remembers everything. Everything else is fleeting, temporary masks, codes, and uncertainties. But your inner essence is permanent, eternal. This is why mystics proclaim, "Know thyself, and thou shalt know the gods." Because when you encounter your true self, you recognize your inherent connection to all that is. Here's where things become even more profound. The instant you become conscious of your own thoughts, you shatter the illusion. You disconnect from the matrix and transition from being a character in the game to becoming the player. This is the understanding that the ancient Hermeticists possessed and the Gnostics sought to protect. The secret wasn't about blindly worshiping a deity. It was about realizing your own divine nature, trapped within flesh and slumbering within a dream. And the system profits from your continued state of unconsciousness. Vast fortunes are accumulated by perpetuating your identification with this illusory mask. Because once you remember who you are, you become an autonomous, unpredictable, and unprogrammable force. You begin to create your own reality instead of merely reacting to one imposed upon you. This poses a significant threat to those who control the narrative. So why did you forget in the first place? Because you chose to. This is the profound revelation that many struggle to accept. Your higher self deliberately chose this particular avatar, this specific timeline, this exact life experience to rediscover yourself from scratch, to descend into the realm of illusion. This was undertaken so that you could ultimately break free and awaken to your infinite potential. This is not a form of punishment. It's a carefully designed initiation. And now the test begins. At this very moment, you are being presented with a choice. Will you continue to live a limited existence, identifying with the name on your identification, or will you heed the call and awaken to your true identity and purpose? Here's your initial step. Become the observer. Begin to watch your thoughts as if they were passing clouds. Don't engage with them. Don't try to suppress them. Simply observe. And soon you will realize that you are not the storm. You are the sky. Every spiritual master, every awakened soul, and every ancient teaching began here. Not with a specific religion or a charismatic guru, but with a subtle shift in perspective, from being the mind to witnessing the mind, from being the body to watching it move, from being the emotion to observing it rise and fall like a wave. This is the I am, the pure awareness that has always been present. It requires no permission, and it doesn't need to prove its worth. It simply exists. And when you reconnect with that essence, you cease seeking fulfillment externally and begin creating it from within. This is where your true power originates. This is when your baser instincts begin to panic because the moment you stop believing their lies, you awaken something ancient and unstoppable. Now breathe, not as a physical form, not as a name, but as the eternal force that has just remembered itself. There is a parasite residing within you, but it is not a physical entity. It lacks a tangible form, yet it speaks incessantly, urging you to remain comfortable, stay small, and remain fearful. This parasite is your lower self, and it has been orchestrating your life from the shadows. It's the voice that whispers, just one more scroll. You'll start tomorrow. Why even try? It disguises itself as logic, prudence, and realism, but it is a program rigidly designed to keep you trapped in cycles of mere survival. Your lower self is not inherently evil. It is merely ancient. It was designed for a single purpose, to keep the body alive at all costs. Eat, sleep, reproduce, seek dopamine, and avoid pain. It is the reptilian operating system, and the majority of individuals never progress beyond it. And here's the alarming part. The world is designed to nourish it. Fast food is not nourishment. It's code for the root chakra. Social media is not genuine connection. It's psychological warfare targeting your sacral center. The news is not factual information. It's emotional manipulation designed to addict your solar plexus. They are not merely distractions. They are tools used to keep your consciousness trapped within the lower three chakras indefinitely. And when you are trapped in the lower three, you are unable to think critically, love deeply, or create powerfully because you are perpetually battling illusions, cravings, urges, and fears. This is what ancient texts referred to as the beast. In the book of Revelation, the beast was not an external monster. It was your lower nature, ungoverned, unmastered, and misaligned. The animalistic instincts within you running the show. The Freemasons, Sufis, yogis, and Gnostics all understood this and warned against it. But modern society celebrates the beast, fuels it, glorifies it, and then shames you for succumbing to its influence. It's a form of spiritual gaslighting on a global scale. And here's the crucial point. You cannot escape your lower self because it is an inherent part of you. However, you can transcend it, integrate it, and rise above it, making it serve your higher purpose. This is the path of the initiate, not to eliminate the beast, but to tame it. Because when the lower self submits to the higher self, you unlock your divine potential. Let's discuss biology for a moment. Your brainstem, responsible for survival, is ancient and reptilian. It reacts instinctively, without reason. It is wired for fight, flight, and feeding. Then you have the limbic brain, which processes emotions. And above that is the neocortex, responsible for imagination, logic, and creativity. Where do you think the world directs your focus? Precisely towards the bottom. Because when your energy is consumed by fear and cravings, you cannot access the parts of your brain that manifest miracles. Think of your energy as a form of currency. Wherever your focus goes, your power flows. And if your energy is being dissipated on lust, junk food, mindless scrolling, and anger, guess what you are creating more of? Exactly that. You are constructing a prison and calling it reality. But here's the twist. You are not the prisoner, you are the architect. You designed the cage, and now it is time to design your escape. The ancient yogis taught that the body is a ladder. The chakras are not merely esoteric concepts, they are biological portals, energy centers, and neuroendocrine hubs. Each one governs not only physical organs, but also states of consciousness. And the first three represent the base levels: survival, sensation, and power. If your energy never rises above them, you remain trapped in a loop of fight, feed, fear, and repeat. Now pause for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the actions you regret the most occur when you are operating from impulse? That is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you are being controlled by your lower self. And until you recognize it in action, it will continue to wear your face and make your decisions. But awareness is the antidote. Begin to notice the shift. When you are calm one moment and triggered the next, that is your lower self taking control. And the moment you recognize it, you create space. And within that space, you gain power. The power to respond instead of react. The power to pause instead of spiral. The power to observe instead of obey. This is the first weapon in your arsenal. Conscious interruption. Recognize the loop. Interrupt the pattern. Use a breath, a word, a movement. It does not matter how. What matters is that you break the trance, because that is all your lower self is. A trance, a sleep state. And you are here to awaken. Now listen carefully. Your lower self will deceive you. It will whisper, "You are tired. You are not ready. You will never be enough." But the truth is this: you have already survived everything your lower self feared. You are still here, still breathing, still evolving. And now it is your turn to reclaim your rightful place on the throne. Because your lower self was never intended to lead, it was meant to serve. And when you reverse that power dynamic, everything changes. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop merely surviving and start building. You stop running from shadows and start walking like a god. Because your mind is not neutral. It is not some blank canvas. It is a portal, a weapon, and a magnet. And right now it is either manifesting heaven or silently constructing your own personal hell. Let me be blunt. If you do not program your mind, someone else already has. From the moment you were born, you have been under psychological attack. Cartoons, classrooms, screens. They do not merely teach you what to think. They teach you how to think. What is possible, what is not, who you are, and what you are worth. Every belief you hold began as someone else's voice until it became your inner dialogue. But let's go even deeper. Your conscious mind is merely the gatekeeper, filtering perhaps 5% of your day. The rest originates from your subconscious. That is the true architect of your reality. It stores everything: habits, traumas, identity, and even your sense of what is possible. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you believe deep beneath the surface. That is why affirmations without inner work are ineffective. You can declare, "I am abundant," all day long. But if your subconscious still believes, "I am broken, cursed," guess who wins? So here is the shocking truth. The majority of individuals are operating based on programs they did not consciously choose, and then they wonder why nothing ever changes. This is not a glitch, it is the design. Let's talk about science. Neuroscience confirms this. 95% of your behavior is subconscious. It runs like code, triggered by symbols, smells, tones, and even memories you have forgotten you had. This is why trauma loops feel automatic, why addiction feels demonic, and why fear manifests before logic. You are not lazy, you are not broken. You are merely running a program that was installed without your permission. But here is the mind-blowing truth. If it can be programmed, it can be reprogrammed. This is where you rewrite the script. Your mind is not your enemy. It is your interface, a bridge between your higher self and the physical world. Think of it as a lens. If the lens is dirty, clouded with trauma, fear, and guilt, you perceive life as hostile. But if the lens is clear, aligned, awakened, and decoded, you see possibility. You see yourself, you see God. And that is dangerous to the system, because a clear mind does not obey. It creates. The elites understand this. That is why they flood your mind with noise, TikToks, headlines, and hashtags, not to inform you, but to fill the channel, to overload your processing system until there is no space left to hear your higher self. This is psychological warfare, and your attention is the battlefield. So, how do you win? You take back the control panel. Step 1. Become the observer of your thoughts, not their slave, not their victim, not their believer, but the observer. Every time you witness a thought without reacting to it, you reclaim a piece of your power. Step 2. Identify the programs. Ask yourself, whose voice is this? That shame about money? Was it your parents? That fear of failure? Was it school? That self-doubt? Was it the result of betrayal by someone you thought was genuine? You cannot uninstall what you have not named. Step 3. Rewrite. Utilize neuroplasticity to your advantage. Every time you visualize and every time you speak a new truth into your mind, you carve new neural pathways. At first, they are weak and fragile, but with repetition and feeling, they become highways, new defaults and new realities. This is how you collapse timelines. You stop being the character and start becoming the author. Do you want proof? Dr. Joe Dispenza's research demonstrates that when people shift their internal state, mentally, emotionally, and energetically, their external reality adjusts to match it. It is not magic, it is mechanics. Thoughts plus emotion equals electrical plus magnetic, which equals manifestation. It is alchemy, and your mind is the lab. But here is the warning. Your lower self will resist. It will say, "This is pointless. It is too late. You have always been this way." It will mock your growth just to maintain control. That is how you know you're on the right track. When the resistance intensifies, it signifies that you are changing the code. Here is a challenge for you. Tonight, before bed, do not scroll. Sit in silence and listen. You will hear the voice of the old program, the fear, the blame, and the loops. Do not argue. Do not suppress. Simply observe it and speak a new truth back. I am not this fear. I am the one witnessing it. I am not this doubt. I am the awareness behind it. I am not this program. I am the rewriter of my mind. Say it until the voice diminishes, and one day it will cease altogether. And in that silence, your higher self will speak clearly, powerfully, and without hesitation. Because now it has room to land. And your body is not what you have been told. It is not a mere lump of flesh and blood randomly spinning through space. It is a sacred machine, a quantum temple encoded with a forgotten blueprint for divinity. 7 seals, 7 energy centers, and 7 ancient gates that unlock your full potential, one level at a time. The yogis called them chakras. The Bible called them seals. The Egyptians carved them into stone. And today, most individuals are completely unaware of their existence. You attribute your fatigue to lack of sleep. You attribute your depression to your job. You attribute your feeling lost to a lack of planning. But in reality, your energy system is out of sync. You are operating on 1% of your spiritual potential, and no one has ever taught you how to reboot it. Here is the truth they concealed. Your body is a ladder, and each chakra is a rung. As your energy ascends, so does your consciousness. Let's unlock the seals one by one. Root chakra, the first gate, survival, safety, and grounding. When blocked, you experience anxiety, instability, and disconnection from the earth. This is why trauma is stored in the hips. It is your body's cry for a solid foundation to stand on. And this is also why the system perpetuates financial fear and scarcity. Because a blocked root equates to a blocked life. Sacral chakra, the center of pleasure, creativity, sensuality, and flow. But here's the catch. This is where the world attacks you the hardest. Social media, overstimulation, and emotional chaos. You are leaking your creative essence into digital voids and wondering why you cannot manifest. Your sacral is not meant to be numbed. It is meant to be channeled. Solar plexus, the power core, your will, your drive, and your self-esteem. This is where your inner warrior resides. But when this center is hijacked by self-doubt, people-pleasing, and shame, you forget your inherent right to choose. You become a passive observer rather than an active creator. These are the lower 3, and most individuals never rise above them. They live their entire lives in loops of survival, stimulation, and ego, and the system is designed to maintain that status quo. But if you can elevate your energy higher, everything transforms. Heart chakra, The center of centers, love, compassion, and unity. This is the bridge between body and spirit, earth and heaven. And here is the twist. In esoteric Christianity, the kingdom of God was never in the sky. It was always within the heart. Rearrange the letters in earth and you get heart. Coincidence? Absolutely not. Every depiction of Jesus shows him pointing to his chest. Why? Because heaven is not a place. It is a frequency, and love is the gateway. Throat chakra, expression of truth in creation through sound. Do you ever feel like you cannot express your truth, or that when you do, no one hears you? That is not coincidental. Your throat chakra has been blocked by years of repression. Your voice is a wand, and your words are spells. When you speak from truth, you do not just influence people, you shift timelines. Third eye chakra, vision, intuition, and perception beyond the veil. This is your inner sight, your ability to see without your physical eyes. And it is not just mysticism, it is biology. The pineal gland is real, it has photoreceptors, and it produces DMT, the spirit molecule. And fluoride, stress, and blue light are all designed to calcify it. Because when your third eye is open, you cannot be manipulated. You see through the illusion. Crown chakra, the final gate, connection to source, unity, consciousness, the death of the ego, and the rebirth of the divine self. This is where the serpent rises to meet the dove, where Kundalini meets Christ consciousness, and where you remember that you were never separate, merely asleep. Here is what the book of Revelation truly meant. And when the Lamb opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven. That silence is stillness, presence, and unity. The moment when thought dissolves and only I am remains. Because behind these seven seals lies you. The true you, not the personality, not the performer, but the eternal witness finally unveiled. And here is the practical truth. You do not unlock these gates by merely thinking about them. You unlock them by feeling through them, by healing, breathing, fasting, meditating, moving, and listening to what your body has been trying to communicate to you for years. This is not New Age fluff. It is ancient spiritual science encoded in myths, guarded in temples, and mocked by modernity. Because it is that powerful. Each chakra is a layer of identity, and as you ascend layer by layer, you become less of a person and more of a presence. That is ascension, not floating off the earth, but mastering the earth from within. When your energy flows through all seven centers without blockage, your body becomes a sacred antenna, receiving divine intelligence, transmitting love, and manifesting effortlessly. This is why it is said that when the energy rises, the God awakens. But knowing the chakras is not sufficient, and feeling the energy is not sufficient. You must use it, direct it, and command it. Otherwise, your system remains open but aimless. And in that state, the lower self creeps back in. Here is what they never taught you. There is a daily ritual that can recalibrate your entire energy system in just 7 minutes. It is ancient in origin, modern in delivery, and once you commit to it, your energy becomes laser-focused, your thoughts become magnetic, your higher self takes the wheel, and your lower self falls silent. It is called the 7-minute portal, 1 minute per gate, starting from the root and ascending all the way to source. Grab a pen and paper and step into it fully. Minute 1, root. I am safe in the unknown. Sit or stand in stillness. Close your eyes. Feel the base of your spine. Breathe deeply and slowly. Repeat silently or aloud. I am grounded. I am stable. I am supported in every dimension. Visualize red light pulsing downward like roots anchoring into the earth. Allow the fear of survival to dissolve. Minute 2, sacral. I create without permission. Shift your awareness to just below the navel. Breathe into your lower abdomen. Repeat, my energy is sacred. My emotions are divine intelligence. I create what I desire. Visualize warm orange light spinning and flowing freely. Release overstimulation and reclaim your creative force. Minute 3, solar plexus. I decide who I am. Place your awareness in the center of your stomach. Straighten your spine. Repeat, I am power. I am purpose. I command my destiny. Visualize a golden sphere expanding from your core. This is your will, not the world's. Own it. Minute 4. Heart. I am the bridge. Place your hands on your chest. Inhale deeply. Repeat. I open my heart without fear. I love without attachment. I am connected to all. Visualize green light expanding in waves. Feel yourself soften and strengthen simultaneously. Minute 5. Throat. I speak reality into being. Focus on your throat. Breathe in, then exhale with intention. A steady, soft sound. Repeat. My voice is truth. My words are spells. I speak only from alignment. Visualize blue light radiating outward. This is not just expression. It is frequency shaping form. Minute 6. Third eye. I see beyond the illusion. Gently focus between your brows. No tension, just presence. Repeat. I see clearly. I trust my inner vision. I remember what others forget. Visualize indigo light expanding outward. Insight begins where logic ends. Allow it to come. Minute 7. Crown. I am the one. Now focus at the top of your head. Breathe with reverence as if listening to something holy. Repeat. I surrender to the divine within. I am not separate. I am source and form. Visualize white or violet light pouring down through your crown like a waterfall. Allow the energy from all centers to rise, unify, and dissolve into stillness. Close the portal and integrate the upgrade. Sit in silence for 30 seconds. No repetition, no visualization. Just be. Allow your body to lock in the shift and your nervous system to catch up to your soul. No longer a seeker, now a transmitter. Then stand, walk, and breathe. Perform the most ordinary task with extraordinary presence. Allow the first action of your day to be a declaration. The God within is online. Repeat this process every morning before the noise, before the programming, and before the world attempts to write your story. This is how you reclaim authorship. This is how you dismantle unconscious cycles. This is how you stop reacting and start creating from the highest frequency available. You do not need more information. You need integration, and it begins here. 7 minutes, 7 gates, and 1 awakening. There is a reason why you always feel depleted after endless distractions. There is a reason why you feel foggy, unfocused, and unmotivated, as if your fire has been extinguished. And there is a reason why, no matter how much you rest, you never feel truly recharged. Because your energy, your vital life force, is being leaked, not physically, but energetically. In ancient systems, this energy was sacred. The Taoists called it Jing. The yogis called it Ojas. The Egyptians saw it as Ka, your divine charge. And modern science calls it bioelectrical potential. It is the same principle. Your body is a battery, and your daily actions either drain it or supercharge it. Every time you pursue instant gratification, every time you scroll mindlessly, overstimulate your nervous system, or avoid silence, you deplete that fuel. And your lower self thrives on that, because as long as you are low on energy, you remain low in consciousness. You react, you obey, and you collapse. But what happens when you learn to retain it, harness it, and channel it upward into creativity, clarity, intuition, and vision? You enter the realm of the higher self, not just in theory, but in chemistry. Let's discuss physiology. Your brain and spine are connected through a superhighway of cerebrospinal fluid. Each month, your body produces a subtle fluid, a sacred oil concealed in ancient texts. Early mystics called it the Christos, the anointing within. It travels down the spine, and if preserved and protected, it can ascend back up. What happens when it reaches the brain? You experience bursts of inspiration, think more clearly, and feel more aligned. Ancient Christians called this the true resurrection, not of the body, but of the mind. This is what Da Vinci, Tesla, and aesthetic sages across all traditions understood. True genius is not taught, it is activated, and it requires energy conservation. Now, do not confuse this with repression. It is not about denial, it is about direction. It is about transforming scattered energy into focused fire. That is energy transmutation. Here is how it works. That same energy that you experience as impulse or restlessness is raw power. If you learn to breathe through it, move with it, and redirect it, it fuels your best work, deepest intuition, and highest self-expression. You want to write a book, build a business, or create art that moves people? That power is already within you, but if you continue to trade it for short-term stimulation, it remains dormant, buried, and wasted. This is the real reason why ancient initiates practice fasting, silence, movement, and meditation. Not to suffer, but to refine their energy, to build up their internal voltage until it illuminated their entire system. They were not escaping the world. It is about embracing your true potential, the part of you that already knows you are destined for more, the part of you that was never meant to survive, but to ascend. Energy transmutation is your birthright. It is your inner alchemy. It is how you transition from noise to mastery. So here is your challenge. Guard your energy like treasure, direct it like a laser, use it like a king, and build your world like a god. And your emotions are not random. They are not weaknesses. They are not something to suppress, escape, or apologize for. Your emotions are your internal technology, but if you do not understand them, they will become weapons against yourself. Here is what no one tells you. Every emotion is energy in motion. It is the language your body speaks before thought even arrives. If you are not fluent in that language, you get trapped in feedback loops, repeating the same patterns, feeling the same things, and calling it fate. This is where the lower self thrives. It hijacks your emotional system. It takes a passing thought and turns it into shame. A moment of doubt becomes a spiral. An old memory becomes your identity. Because you feel it, you believe it is true, but it is not. It is just unprocessed energy still seeking resolution. Now here is the deeper truth. Emotion is a creative force. In fact, it is the fuel behind every manifestation. Thoughts are the blueprint, but emotion is the engine. What you feel consistently, you attract. What you suppress, you project. What you embody, you become. This is not New Age fluff. It is supported by real psychology, neuroscience, and spiritual law. Dr. David Hawkins, in his Map of Consciousness, demonstrated how every emotion holds a measurable frequency. Shame and guilt are at the bottom, with the lowest vibration. Anger is higher. Courage is the tipping point, and love, joy, and peace are the frequencies that shape miracles. So the question is simple. Where are you vibrating from? If you live in fear, you will subconsciously create experiences that validate it. Why? Because your nervous system seeks familiarity, even if it is painful. That is why people recreate the same relationships, the same failures, and the same breakdowns. Not because they are cursed, but because their emotional signature has not changed. And here is the good news. You can change it. Step 1. Stop being afraid of how you feel. Emotions are not facts. They are feedback. You are not angry. You are experiencing the vibration of anger. You are not broken. You are experiencing a signal that something inside you is asking to be heard. Every emotion is a messenger, and if you silence it, it will return louder, usually through the body. This is how energy transforms into illness. Suppressed emotion does not disappear. It gets stored in your tissues, your organs, and your cells. But when you feel through it consciously, you move it, transmute it, and reclaim your energy. So how do you take emotional sovereignty? Step 1. Name it. Labeling an emotion reduces its intensity by almost 50%. This is neuroscience. When you say, I feel angry instead of I'm angry, you create distance. You become the observer again. Step 2. Feel it fully, not for hours, not for drama, but for integration. Set a timer for 90 seconds. Close your eyes. Breathe into the emotion without the story. Allow it to rise, peak, and pass. Step 3. Reframe it. Ask, what is this emotion here to show me? What unmet need or old story is it surfacing? Use it as intel, not as identity, because emotions are not problems, they are power. They are the bridge between the subconscious and the soul. If you learn to work with them instead of against them, they become allies in your evolution. This is the real meaning of emotional intelligence. Not just staying calm, but staying conscious. Now here is the twist. You can use elevated emotions to rewire your future. Yes, literally. When you pair an intentional thought like, I am free, I am whole, or I am powerful with a matching emotion, gratitude, peace, awe, or love, your brain believes it is already true. You collapse the gap between desire and reality. You signal to your subconscious, this is who I am now, and the universe responds accordingly. This is why gratitude before the miracle brings the miracle, and why joy in the void invites the vision, not because you tricked the system, but because you aligned with it. So here is your daily practice. Every morning, choose one emotion you want to live from: courage, peace, or love. Then spend 3 minutes feeling it intentionally. No reason, no trigger, just breathe into the feeling and allow your body to practice the frequency. If you do that consistently, your nervous system will recalibrate, your baseline will shift, and life will begin to mirror your internal world instead of the other way around. This is emotional alchemy. This is the real magic, and this is how you move the universe from the inside out. So remember, your emotions are not the enemy. They are not obstacles. They are invitations to rise, to release, and to remember. The higher self is not a theory. It is not a vibe, and it is not some mystical idea floating in the clouds. It is a living frequency that already exists within you. But here is the trap. Most people think their higher self is something to become, a future version of themselves someday when they are healed, when they are ready, or when they are finally good enough. That is the lie, and that is the lower self in disguise, selling you a future that keeps you powerless. Now here is the truth they do not teach in school. The higher self is not something you chase. It is something you choose right now, in this moment, in how you speak, how you breathe, and how you move through your day. So let's get precise. Who is your higher self? It is the version of you that already knows the path, the one that is not reactive, rushed, or addicted to drama or distraction. It is calm, focused, generous, and creative. It sees life through the lens of expansion and chooses based on vision, not fear. The higher self does not beg, it broadcasts. It does not chase, it attracts. It does not force, it flows. And the wild part is that you have already encountered this version of yourself. You have had moments, however brief, where time disappeared, clarity clicked, and you just knew what to do. That was not luck. That was you, unfiltered. Your job now is to make that your baseline. How? Step 1. Craft the identity. Write down exactly who your higher self is, how they wake up, how they speak, what they tolerate, and what they believe about money, love, purpose, and power. Do not filter it, design it, and build it like a blueprint. Not just how they act, but how they feel. What is their dominant energy? What is their inner monologue? This is not imagination. This is identity engineering. Step 2. Bridge the gap with action. Now choose one behavior from that version of yourself and do it today, even if it is just for 60 seconds. A new morning ritual, a new boundary, or a new posture. Every action you take from your higher self's energy is a vote for that reality. And over time, you accumulate those votes, and the old self dissolves. Step 3. Train your nervous system. The only reason you do not live as your higher self all the time is because your nervous system is still calibrated to fear, not faith. So you must train it. When you feel discomfort, pause, breathe, and ask, what would my higher self do right now? Then do it, even if it is messy, even if your voice shakes. That is where the shift happens, not in the idea, but in the embodiment. Now here's the metaphysical truth behind all of this. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. When you become the energetic match to your higher self, life bends around you. People treat you differently, opportunities feel magnetic, time stretches, and synchronicity becomes normal. Why? Because you are no longer creating from the conditioned self, you are creating from the source-connected self. This is what Neville Goddard called living in the end. You assume the identity before it materializes, you feel it now. You act as if, not pretending, but embodying the truth that your higher self is not coming, it is already here. You just have to tune into its frequency. And here is the last key. The higher self does not operate alone. It collaborates with something bigger. Call it source, the universe, God, or the field. Whatever name you give it, it is listening, and it mirrors back your dominant state. So when you walk, talk, and decide like your highest self, you emit a new signal. And that signal reorganizes reality around your intention. That is not magic, it is mechanics, and it starts with a decision. Not how do I become, but how do I remember and return? Because the truth is that the higher self is not the future you, it is the real you before the world told you who to be. Now you remember, this world is not what it appears to be. It never was. You were born into a beautifully designed illusion, a matrix of distractions, systems, identities, and scripts. But you were never meant to remain asleep. You came here to remember. The matrix is not composed of machines. It is composed of beliefs. Beliefs that dictate what is possible, what is not, what is normal, and what is real. Beliefs designed to disconnect you from your own divine authority. Beliefs that diminish,